True freedom doesn't come from your life circumstances. In fact, it's our perceived attachment to how our life circumstances need to be first before we're allowed to feel free that often keeps us trapped or stuck in cycles or chasing things at the expense of the present moment. You, my friend, are entering a moment of rebirth. You've been in it, actually, for a little while now. A rebirth that is grounding you and connecting you with the source core within yourself, with who you truly are. Because on some level, you are remembering that true freedom comes from the ability to live as yourself, moment to moment, each day, each now, no matter what's going on. I'm going to share with you some perspectives of empowerment that I know you know on some level, but you're ready to hear and reflect on again. And we're also just going to enjoy this now moment, because what's life if we're not doing that? I'm Danielle Lynn. I'm your synchronistic co-adventurer. And messages like this show up across time and space whenever it is that you most resonate with them, so that you can continue to connect with who you truly are, so that you can live your version of the most flow-based life, so that we can all have an incredible time together, no matter what's going on. So let's talk about the intense situation in your life. Once again, I got notes. You may have coordinated at a higher level this experience for yourself so you could re-meet an old pattern with a new energy field. You are living the new energy field because there's a certain level of reclamation that's going on here across multiple levels. There's a reclamation of your sovereign power of choice, of your boundaries, of how you're going to choose to interface with anyone anymore. Okay? This feels like a reclamation from things like energetic button pushing, either receiving that from others or towards others. Because there's a part of you that understands that button pushing is one of the ways that we poke at ourselves. It's one of the ways that we attempt to reclaim power when on some level we may feel that our power is external to us. So the pushing of the button is one of the ways that we attempt to reclaim power or a feeling of control when we feel externalized in our power and control. I'm like pausing for a moment to invite us to take a breath in on that one. It was a pretty big download right there. So let's take a breath in. Let's integrate. What do you think of my setup today? I was feeling a little bit more like standing and expansive. I decided to dress up very fancy. Flannel fancy. So what we're talking about is a situation that's in dissolution. Okay, and as mentioned to you, this doesn't have to be a relationship with another. Like this could be a job that's pushing your buttons. This could be a belief system or structure that you're even holding within yourself. This could be related to you and inner parts of yourself that are going like this. But a dissolution is already happening because what you are currently dissolving are the threads, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, anything in between, that may have been affixed to the old pattern of not fully trusting your yes now step, of not fully giving yourself permission to live and embody all this incredible inner work you've been doing. Because just to note, you've been doing incredible inner work. All right, I'm going to call it. Like, I feel it. One of the things is when I'm sharing these messages, as I'm sharing the words, some might pop into my mind's eye, and then I can feel the aliveness of speaking them. And that aliveness I recognize as the thread that you and I are embodying right here and right now. That's happening across time and space, because even though from a linear perspective, someone might say, well, you're, filming this at a certain now, I'm watching this at a certain now, but the place that I am perceiving that we are connecting on is right now. Whenever this is connecting, this is the now that matters. And you have the capability of also tapping in to the timeless now. We all do. But this involves being willing to, once again, let go, transmute, trust that you'll always have, whether it's the mental answers, thoughts, ideas, emotions, whether it's the physical items, the connections, the people, to give yourself permission to go, all right, you know what? If it is really mine and it's really in resonance, and I am all in with living my version of life that is yes and, then I am okay with taking a look at things that haven't had any movement, with things that have been just sitting or been stagnant or just not going anywhere. And I'm ready to invite movement. I'm ready to invite either instigation or let go. I'm ready to bring it to life, or I'm ready for it to move on. So something that is alive can start growing. It would be like a garden, and you just kind of keep like a dead plant there. But if you clear it, you clear it out, you either prune it and it pops up again, or you clear it so something new can pop up. And I want to point out, it's the part of us that sometimes feels very attached to things that makes it appear that it's so much more complicated and energy tiring than it really is to get the things you want or live the things you want. Please remember, you're not going to build your new house in the land that has no more fertile soil for you. And so the letting go process is as much about allowing yourself to root in where the aliveness is, so that the natural growth can happen. It reminds me a little bit of trees, okay? Trees, they got this wisdom, right? They got this wisdom that when it's wintertime, they're not trying to push the new growth. They actually understand that it's not the now time. And then when spring comes, when the more appropriate weather comes, this is when they start the growth. And there is a parallel here, okay, to your own life, your own field. When you're feeling like things aren't happening, well, maybe this isn't the ground for it to happen. And so instead of feeling like you're doing something wrong or things aren't happening for you, let's take a breath. Connect to your current stage in the cycle. Connect with the current place you are, and most importantly, connect inward first. Connect to that inner place first. And then all the other things start to become that much more clear. All the other things start to become that much more clear, because you're allowing you to see clearly from the inside out. When I say to you, you have everything already that you need within yourself, I'm not just giving you a pep talk. I am speaking about the internal fractal nature of this reality, in which you are directly interconnected to the source within you, and with understanding, with silence and stillness, with the willingness to be curious, with these vehicles of consistently interfacing with your life in a new way, you start to crack open these doors and these portals within yourself without having to look outside of yourself for the answer, for the answer, for the answer. The mind is obsessed with answers. Tell me the answer. Tell me the way. We'll figure it out. And then all the problems will go away. How many times has it told you that? And how many times has it delivered? Right? The mind loves to keep us in a game, that flipping over game. I think of that game where you got a piece of paper and it says, to see the answer, flip over to the other side. To see the answer, flip over to the other side, right? Keep flipping. Where's the answer, right? This is a similar way that the brain functions, but no shade to the brain, because the truth is, when we plug the brain in to the coherent system of your heart, gut, and mind, all working together, this is where the instruments sing in harmony together. This is where you are finding yourself, my friend. Any challenge you're approaching now isn't about a test or being a martyr. You are literally being the alchemist that is transmuting situations around you and within you by applying all of this wisdom you've integrated up until this now moment. Because in being so, in being this way, you are instigating the ripples of change that transform this world. You know, if you've ever resonated with the idea of light worker and all these things, you've been like, well, what do I do? How do I do it? Right here, right now. Every single time you choose to yes and embody an authentic expression of your core frequency without shaming or judging yourself, and simply being as you are, being perfectly imperfect as you are, moving forward with curiosity and heart and experiencing your life moment to moment, you are literally, energetically shifting this planet, not just for yourself, but for all involved. Because we can all feel and experience the unseen connection between us. And I'm sure that you notice there's a lot of going on in the world right now. Okay, there's a lot of energetic beings in mass psychosis or disarray and all these things, sure. And there's an enormous, powerful, steady energy that is rising consistently like a heartbeat, moving, beating, going simultaneously deeper into the ground, higher up into the ether, we'll call it. And it is you, it is me, it is all of us embodying this way. Every single time that we move forward from a coherent place as who we truly are, we are contributing to that heartbeat. You are contributing to that heartbeat. And this is not just about the greater world. Please remember, it reflects back into your inner world. Because the more of us operate this way, the more that you on an individual level will find it more and more easy to connect to, we'll call it higher thought forms, to a lighter perspective and state of being. It's like together we are cultivating an energetic climate that is hospitable to coherent life. If I was to point to something as close to a magnum opus as possible, I would say that is likely what yours is pointing to in your unique shape, way, and form. So thank you for that, my friend. I'm very honored that we have this chance to connect and talk together and remember ourselves and each other. Because this is certainly a wild ride, but I don't imagine I would want to ride this ride with anyone other than you and all of our friends. I'm going to round off our conversation today with a passage from my well-loved Gene Keys book. This has to do with the 55th Gene Key. Okay, and if you're not familiar with the Gene Keys, they relate to the I Ching, they relate to human design. The 55th speaks a lot about the current changes going on in our world. And when I thought of us today, I popped it open to this page. The 55th gift is deeply connected to sound and the way which our bodies and emotions respond to sound. The ageless connection between human emotional spectrum and music is rooted here. The triplet is the key structural foundation of the entire genetic helix. In music, the triplet represents something extraordinary, the pure longing of life itself. The musical triplet is always trying to resolve to another note, and in this sense, it has the effect of leaving the human heart hanging in the air. And this is the longing that is expressed through the 55th key. It's the longing to create more. And unlike duality, Trinity is not a straight line. It doesn't rest, but it repeats, always free and always fresh, like a pattern. As the great change comes to human beings, an ancient fear within us will subside and we will hear a new kind of music. We will vibrate at a higher frequency that will chemically lift us up, free from the old genetic fears. We will become one with the music of life and experience the entire spectrum of emotions from the light to dark without fear and without shame. This is a new kind of music for humans, because there's no paths to follow and no need for systems or structures to keep us safe. The old ways are leaving the world, and the new human will no longer try and escape the pure longing of life within themselves. We will no longer fear true freedom because we will operate from an awareness that is beyond the mind and its concerns about the future. Ultimate freedom has nothing to do with your life circumstance. It is the freedom of allowing the self to dissolve into the waves of the ocean, and the freedom that is born through absolute trust in one's life. My friend, it's been an absolute honor to connect with you today. If you would like to explore portals and experiences with me, some of which are active right now, I invite you to check my description link for some more information. I also invite you, if you haven't already, to get the flow book, which is also linked in my description link. In any case, my friend, I trust that you are more deeply connected with what it is that you are and what it is that you are choosing to live. And I look forward to our next conversation.